Hey guys, I'm Alvin Spot and welcome to week 34.5 of the Premier League review. Even when it issues, what we do is take a look at the past set of Premier League results, we take a look at the Premier League table and we finish off by looking at the top goal scorers. So here is the past set of Premier League results. These games were played on Tuesday the 17th, Wednesday the 18th and Thursday the 19th of April 2018. You'll notice the lack of games in this episode. That's because these games were due to be played earlier on in the season, but at least one of these teams involved in the games were busy in other competitions, so they are just catching up. Also next to the games are there timed in this video, so if you want to hear about a specific match, just go to the time next to the game and you will skip out all the other crap. But without further ado, let's get into our first match. And we start with Burnley versus Chelsea. Chelsea took the lead in the 20th minute when Kevin Long put the ball into his own net. Good run by Moses as the ball was played over the top to the wide man. He timed his run well and latched onto it. He then sprinted to the byline, put a ball into the box, and normally Kevin Long was in the right position running towards the front post, but he just couldn't sort himself out as the ball hits the defender on the arm and bounces into his own net. But Burnley leveled the game up in the 64th minute through Ashley Barnes. Came out of absolutely nowhere as Johan Goodmanson hits an effort from distance. It was headed straight into Courtois, but then it takes a massive deflection off of Ashley Barnes and goes into the opposite corner. But Chelsea retook the lead 5 minutes later as Victor Moses got the goal. Came as the cross was put into the box from the left hand side. Olivier Giroud went for another scorpion kick but missed it, but the ball ran all the way through to Victor Moses, who squeezed his effort in at the near post. And as the game ended, Chelsea were really solid at the back in this game, hardly if ever putting a foot wrong, and that Burnley goal was lucky as all hell. Going forward they were less perfect, missing some amazing chances, Morata missing a one-on-one after counter setting through, but other than that Chelsea bossed the entire pitch, only allowing Burnley 2 shots on target as the Blues picked up the win. And we move on to Bournemouth versus Manchester United. Pretty boring opening quarter of the game, no shots on target for either team until the 26th minute, and we got 2 in the space of about 30 seconds, and with the second, Man United took the lead through Chris Smalling. Good goal by Man United, who passed it around the Bournemouth defenders like they weren't even there. Ander Herrera played it between the defenders to Jesse Lingard. Lingard darts into the area and laid it back first time for Smalling, who tapped home from 2 yards out. And United doubled their lead in the 70th minute through Romelu Lukaku. He was only on the pitch for about 5 minutes, but it was a simple goal for United. They had the ball in the middle of the pitch. Pogba came forward with the ball. Lukaku made a run and pointed to where he wanted the pass, and Pogba kindly obliged as he slipped into the path of Lukaku, who put it past Begovic first time. And that's how the game ended. Pretty solid display by United, who bounced back following their shock loss to West Brom at the weekend. Mourinho made a ton of changes, starting players like Marouane Fellaini, Anthony Martial and Luke Shaw. I forgot Luke Shaw even existed. All of the players were fighting for a place in the team for the FA Cup semi-final this weekend after Jose said that nobody's place is safe after the embarrassment that was the performance against West Brom. Some players probably booked their place in the starting 11, but not much. No one really jumped out and made themselves known. Maybe Ander Herrera, he had a good game, and obviously David De Gea. But other than that, I have no idea how they line up. But anyway, Bournemouth did have chances, but they just couldn't find a way through David De Gea as Man United picked up the win. And we move on to Brighton versus Tottenham. It was a pretty quiet first half. Tottenham were challenging the goal but didn't really carve any chances out, and Brighton defended well, but Tottenham did eventually take the lead 2 minutes into the second half when Harry Kane got the goal. Really poo from Brighton. First they gave the ball away, they do get it back, but then they lose it again instantly. Son Heung-min comes towards goal. Matty Ryan does come out for it but just doesn't grab a hold of it. The ball fell loose to Kane, who smashed home with a player on the line. But 17 seconds from kickoff, Brighton got the perfect chance to level the game up when they were given a penalty when Jose Izquierdo went down in the box under pressure from Serge Aurier, and the ref pointed to the spot. Didn't look like there was much contact in it for me. It did look like Izquierdo tripped himself up. Pascal Gross stepped up to take it, and despite Hugo Lloris getting a hand to it, he can't keep it out as it goes into the bottom corner. And as the game ended, I think Spurs will be a bit disappointed with their team, as the team really failed to impress before their FA Cup semi-final on Saturday. Tottenham made a total of 6 changes to their side, which is to be expected following a hectic schedule this week, but even then they did have some of their big names in there, including Christian Eriksen and Harry Kane, both of which didn't look like their normal selves. Brighton did really come into it in the final quarter of the match, with them really going after the Tottenham goal, and Spurs kept on failing to get out of their own box. They looked really poor in the middle as Brighton picked up a much deserved point and creeped ever so closer to survival. And finally, we've got Leicester versus Southampton. Bordeaux to finish the matches off. Southampton were poor in the opening in the first half. There were little signs of improvement near the half-time whistle, and then in the second half it was like watching a completely different team. They showed intensity and really wanted that win. As for Leicester, they know they're safe and they are playing like they are as well. They know that they've got nothing really else to fight for now, so they're just in a sort of cruise control right now. Southampton have an FA Cup semi-final to look forward to, but other than that, the Premier League future looks dim, as they really needed all 3 points in this match, but they couldn't find the net as both teams came away from the King Power with a point apiece. So that's all the game we've got for this time. Before we go, let's take a look at the Premier League table and top goal scorers, starting off with the Premier League table. Start with top 5, and as you can see, Man City is still top. They didn't play this episode. Man United is second after they beat Bournemouth. Liverpool the third. They didn't play this episode either. Tottenham are fourth following a draw with Brighton. And Chelsea make up top 5 after they beat Burnley. Moving on to the bottom 5, and West Brom are bottom. They didn't play this episode. Stoke in 90th. They didn't play either. Southampton still make up the relegation zone after their draw with Leicester. Swansea is 17th. They didn't play this episode. And Crystal Palace finished the bottom 5 off, and they didn't play this week either. Moving on to top goal scorers, and only one of these players played this week, so I'll quickly run through these. Mo Salah is on top with 30 goals. Harry Kane is second with 26. Sergio Aguero is third on 21. Raheem Sterling is fourth on 17 goals and 8 assists. And Jamie Vardy did play against Southampton, but he didn't find the net, so he stayed on 17 goals and just the 1 assist. Right, so that's all I've got for this time. If you did enjoy the show, leave a like and subscribe if you want to, and I'll be back on Tuesday for the next episode of the Premier League review. If you want to follow my personal Twitter, link is in the description. If you want to follow us on Twitter to stay up to date about when we go live or upload a video, you can. Link to that is in the description as well, or it's at portionofsport_. If you missed last episode, that'll be popping on your screen about now, along with a link to the channel so you can subscribe. But anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. I've been Mark from A Portion of Sport, and I will see you soon.